Okay, let's talk about version 5.2 and the changes coming forward. It's been a while since we've actually released another version. Thought we'd fix everything up. So starting off, there's a log for ag.io, and there's also a log for ag-open-GPS. And turning these on, there's two log files, text files, in the program folder where you run ag-open-GPS, and that's where they're stored. The other change, of course, is to enable the steer switch to control the mapping and the sections, that sort of thing. So that's new. Used to be just a manual work switch, but now you can enable both. And so that when you turn on your steer switch, it turns on mapping. In terms of contour, a lot has been fixed. Offsets, the way it works, the speed it works, and that sort of thing. The locking still works. I'm not going to do a demo on that, but play around with it. It is significant improvement on how it works. There's a fix on the grid, so the grid doesn't redraw every time. It's always centered on the vehicle when you open a field, and then it doesn't bounce around and change. The other fix was the name of the line up here. You would change lines. Now it changes immediately, not in 3 seconds, so you can page through the lines. The other thing was steer form. Touch anywhere in this area down here, the set act, anything down here, and that pops open. Touch it again, it closes, open, close. Okay, line lock. Going to the steering wheel here. To acquire a line, you can set how far ahead or how many seconds ahead of the vehicle you will acquire the line. Like right now it's set to 2 seconds. So depending on your speed, the faster you go, the farther the look ahead will be. So when you're driving, and of course depending on your speed, it'll jump ahead based on those number of seconds. So as you go across the lines, the faster you go, the farther ahead it is. So that's that look ahead for the lines. Around 2 seconds seems to work pretty good, but you can play with it. You can go anywhere from 0, meaning it's right on the pivot itself, to 10 seconds, which is probably in the next field. So line lock, as soon as you activate auto steer, that's the line that it's selected. That's the line it'll turn to. It won't pick anything else. In terms of lateral, that's these two new ones up here. You jump a line over, hit it 3 times, jump over 3 lines, come back, go back as far as you want. It'll always go find the line and keep going on the same way that you initially started it. It's handy. It's like, oh no, I picked the wrong line, but now you can just go find that line and drive to where you want it to. The turnaround, manual turnaround, still works the same. As you know, the line jumps over. No more finding the line as you drive around. U-turn, even if you do a jump over, U-turn will stay on. You don't have to return on U-turn. Even if you do a full reverse, U-turn stays on. It'll just start redrawing again. And of course, yeah, you see all the offsets. The offsets work, and as many skips as you want using the multi-skip or where you drive around in circles. And you can see the line jumps over, so that becomes your next line. And same thing, jump over. So that all works pretty good now. So this is why we didn't make 87 different releases. Just get all this crap done, and then there's one version. And same with AB curve. All works the same in curve or you jump over, redraw the U-turn, make it. Whew. So it works the same AB and curve. And of course, as soon as you turn off auto steer, then you can jump to whatever line. And of course, it wouldn't be right if you wouldn't have this little trick. Oh yes, reverse auto steer. Isn't that wonderful? Thanks, Daniel, for putting that together. It was such a simple solution. It was ridiculous just changing the heading of the line. And so yeah, that works really, really well in pure pursuit. It just tracks onto the line immediately. So here we can back up, hit auto steer, go forward. Voila. Anyway, that's some of the changes that will come out in 5.2. Definitely worth the upgrade. And the logging thing and the delay thing is another. The difference between version 4 and version 5 is version 5 processed every sentence. Version 4, just if it wasn't ready to process the sentence, it just dropped the data. Whereas version 5, with having AIO, it sends the sentence, which triggers a new frame. Some of the tablets were too slow to catch up. If they got a few behind, like if you open up config, then that pauses Windows. It takes time to bring this window up. So then all of a sudden you were 10 sentences behind. Well, if you were just keeping up in the first place, now you're 10 sentences behind. And so you're a second behind now, or a second and a half behind of what's actually happening. The fixes weren't right based on where the tractor was. So it never caught up. So now there's a setting called minimum frame pause, meaning if another sentence comes within 70 milliseconds, like if it's a 10 hertz GPS, every 100 milliseconds, ideally another sentence should come in. But if you pause, you'll have one sentence come in, and then 2 milliseconds later, you'll have 3 more sentences come in, that sort of thing. Well, what we want to do is just drop those. So if a sentence is coming within 70 milliseconds of the last one, or faster than that, then it just gets dropped, and it won't trigger a frame. So it'll just accept the next one that comes that exceeds that 70 millisecond time. So you can, if you're dropping a lot of them, well, you can change this to 50 or 40 or whatever you want. But the thing you need to maybe figure out is, why are your sentences coming in unevenly? What is the bottleneck in the system? It's not that AgOpen GPS was delayed. It's just that your computer was too slow and it couldn't deal fast enough with all the data. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more flexibility. Stuff like Joaquin's variable rate stuff, being able to send fixes to other applications, to other operating systems, anywhere on the UDP network, that sort of thing. That is what version 5 is for. We're just going to do a little bit more testing, especially the reverse auto steer, stuff like that. Thanks.